What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm gonna be going over frog fishing. So frog fishing is my favorite way to fish by far, and it's a really great way to fish, especially if you're fishing lakes like Lake Eufaula and Lake Guntersville, where there's a lot of grass, because that's really when a topwater like a frog comes in handy. So I'm gonna go over I'll go ahead and go over a tip for the frogs, and that's to make the hookup better. So the hookup with a frog isn't very good because the fish they have to push down a lot for them hooks to become exposed. So a tip with that, I don't know if y'all can see this, is take some pliers or some scissors, and I've already done it with this frog pretty much, but take those hooks and bend them out. I don't know if y'all can see that, just bend it out. And what that does is that put those hooks, separates those hooks out more. Not sure if y'all can see that. And it makes it easier for the fish to get hooked, so they don't have to push down as much. And your hook set will more likely put a hook in them. So when you're fishing the topwater like this frog, you really don't want to, when you're twitching it, you don't want to use your whole arm. You really want to just use your wrist and twitch it with your wrist and make it walk side to side. And that's really the action you want with a frog, and that'll help you get a lot of bites. So a bite on a frog, you really kind of have to experiment with it when you first start, because sometimes the bite will be, they suck it under and they'll let go if you don't set the hook in time. But some will be, when they eat it, you've got to let them eat it or you're not going to be able to put a hook in them. So a few weeks ago I was at Lake Neely Henry, and they weren't eating it real good, and we actually ended up having to put a little trailer hook on the frog just to put a hook in them, because they just wouldn't eat it. And it wasn't our hook sets or anything like that, it was just the fish in the morning would eat the frog, but they would let go of it so fast that you would barely have time to set the hook. So it's really hard to catch them without that trailer hook. Rod, reel, and line wise, fast gear ratio always, because when you're fishing around grass and stuff, when you hook, the second that fish bites, they're going to dive right back down in the grass, and you need a fast gear ratio to pull them out real quick. Line wise, heavy line, I really wouldn't go any lower than 30-pound braid. Always go braid. I go 65-pound braid usually, just because braid don't stretch, so you're not going to have to worry about that, and you're not going to have to worry about that grass cutting up that line when them fish dive right back down in there when they bite it. And that braid, since it don't stretch, you can just pull them right out of there with that fast gear ratio and have no worries about the line breaking. Rod wise, I always go a heavy, and I like to go with a 7.3 heavy, and the reason of that is because a lot of people go with a 7.6 and all that, but I feel like a 7.3 is better for me just because it's lighter, like to the feel usually with the type of rods I use. So a 7.3 works better for me. 7.4 wouldn't hurt, but I just don't like going with a real long 7.6 rod. So yeah, right here, this is just a Spro popping frog. By far what I recommend, this is just normal frog. I've bent the hooks out on it, caught a lot of fish. It's pretty scraped up, and I don't really recommend trimming the legs unless they're really long. If they're a little bit longer than the frog, like this one, it doesn't really matter. I hadn't trimmed these, and I've caught a lot of fish on this one, so I don't really think it matters. Yeah, so that's basically the basics. Not gonna get too in depth on this video, but other than that, that's really about it. Just another thing, when they bite it, you're really gonna need a hard hook set and set the hook up, because with these hooks being on the top, if you set the hook to the side, it's just gonna pull it like that to the side. If you set it up, it's gonna set it. When they bite down on it, it's gonna set it right up into the top of their mouth, and that's usually where you're gonna get them hooked when you're fishing a frog. So that's basically the basics. Didn't get too in depth on it, but that's really just what you need to know when you start frog fishing. And as you start doing it, you'll get more used to it and more familiar with it. And then as you do that, you'll get better with it. It takes time, but when you get to know it, it's a tactic that's really fun to fish and really effective. So I'll see you guys next time.